Get out. This lobby isn't for your kind. Victoria Vance didn't lower her voice. She projected it like a commandment, sharp and ringing across the marble lobby of the Horizon Grand at 6:12 p.m. The chandeliers shimmered overhead, but her words landed heavy, slicing through the room. Conversations stopped. Coffee cups froze mid-air. Every eye turned toward the man she was dismissing. Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you believe in dignity and justice, hit like and subscribe. These stories spark change, and we're glad you're here. Now, back to Marcus. Marcus King didn't flinch. He had heard this tone before at 24, when a clerk in Atlanta told him his booking must be a mistake. At 29 in Los Angeles, when a manager studied his ID and said, "This doesn't look like you." And now again, 2 decades later, inside the flagship hotel of the empire he owned. But he didn't raise his voice. Not yet. He stood tall in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled neatly above the wrist, a silver watch catching the chandelier's glow with every subtle movement. No tie, no jacket. Just the kind of quiet elegance that didn't need permission. He set a slim leather folio on the counter, calm, certain. Behind the desk, Lauren Hayes folded her arms, a smirk tugging at her lips. "Sir, this is a premium property. Are you sure you booked here?" Kevin Patel, security in a fitted black suit, shifted closer, already ready to escort him out. Marcus spoke evenly, baritone steady as steel. "Reservation, King, penthouse suite." The words carried. Low, deliberate, undeniable. Lauren's eyes flicked to Victoria. The manager in red let her smile curl wider, but her gaze was cold. "Men like you try this all the time. Fake cards, fake names, hoping we won't notice." A ripple moved through the lobby. Heads turned, phones tilted. Sophie Lynn, a young travel blogger near the lounge, angled hers higher. "I'm filming this," she whispered. At the far desk, junior concierge Elena Ruiz froze mid-task, torn between duty and conscience. Her breath caught. She knew what she was seeing. Kevin stepped forward, hand extended like a verdict. "Id card now." Marcus slid both across the counter without hesitation, a black titanium credit card and a government ID. His gaze didn't waver. Victoria picked them up delicately, like handling something contaminated. She laughed, soft but cutting. "Strange," she said, tapping the card against the counter. "This looks suspicious." The room seemed to contract. Conversations hushed into silence. The chandelier's light turned harsher, colder. Marcus didn't move. He didn't need to. His stillness was louder than their noise. The titanium card glinted under the lobby lights, trapped between Victoria's manicured fingers. She didn't check the system. She didn't even pretend to. She turned the card slowly, theatrically, like she wanted every guest watching to see it. Kevin leaned closer, his voice thick with certainty. "This is a scam. We've seen it before. Flashy cards, fake IDs. Walk in, cause trouble, disappear." Marcus's jaw tightened, but his face remained calm, unreadable. A murmur spread across the room. A man in a navy blazer near the lounge whispered, "That's not right." His companion shook her head, phone angled just high enough to capture the scene. Victoria set the ID down with a snap. "You're not staying here. Not tonight. Not ever." Lauren pressed a button beneath the desk. A soft buzz echoed. "Security, stand by. Possible fraudulent guest at the front." The words carried like smoke, curling into the ears of everyone nearby. Elena Ruiz flinched, her eyes darting from the glowing monitor on her desk to Marcus's face. She had seen his name earlier, King, penthouse suite, VIP level override. She remembered it clearly, and yet here she stood, frozen, watching her manager bury the truth. Kevin stepped around the counter now, posture squared, one hand already hovering near Marcus's arm. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Marcus didn't step back. He didn't raise his voice. He simply said, steady as granite, "Return my card." Victoria's laugh sliced through the air. "You don't give orders here. Not in my hotel." The irony landed like a stone only Marcus understood. Sophie Lynn gasped softly, her camera catching the moment. "He gave them everything," she muttered into her mic. "Card ID, name, and they're still treating him like a criminal." Her livestream count ticked upward, 40, then 50, then 70 viewers in less than a minute. Elena's breath grew shallow. She stepped forward, words trembling but audible. Manager Vance. I saw his name in the system this morning. Carter Penthouse. Verified. Victoria turned on her, eyes blazing. One more word, and you're out of a job. The lobby stilled. Every guest could feel it now. This wasn't policy. This was prejudice dressed as procedure. Marcus adjusted his silver watch, slow and deliberate. His silence wasn't weakness. It was weight. And for the first time that night, Victoria's perfect smile faltered. The hush in the lobby thickened, like the air itself was waiting for a verdict. Kevin squared his shoulders, blocking Marcus's path. You heard her, he said, voice rising. Time to go. Marcus didn't move. He stood tall, shirt crisp against the glow of the chandelier, watch gleaming as he folded his arms with calm finality. I'm not leaving, Lauren's smirk sharpened. Then we'll have you escorted. Her hand hovered near the landline, ready to call the police. A guest near the coffee bar gasped. Another shook her head, whispering, he hasn't done anything. Oh. Victoria leaned forward, her red dress catching the light like fire. This hotel protects its real guests. And you, sir, are an intruder. The words hit like a slap, loud enough for everyone to hear. Phones tilted higher. Sophie's live stream jumped past 100 viewers. Comments scrolled in real time. Unbelievable. He gave them proof. This is racism live. Marcus's voice cut through the noise, low and deliberate. Check your system. Run my name. Victoria scoffed. You're not verified. This isn't a shelter. It's the Horizon Grand. The contempt in her tone sent a ripple of unease across the room. Elena Ruiz stepped forward again, voice shaking but stronger this time. He's telling the truth. I saw his booking myself, penthouse, override clearance. Victoria turned on her like a predator. Enough. You want to lose your job tonight? Keep talking. Elena froze, but the damage was done. Guests were whispering louder now, the word override sticking in their ears. Kevin reached for Marcus's arm. The lobby gasped. Marcus's gaze snapped to him, steady as a blade. Touch me again, and you'll regret it. Kevin hesitated, just long enough for the crowd to sense the imbalance. Sophie's voice broke the silence. This is wrong. Her camera caught Victoria's flawless smile cracking for the first time. Lauren picked up the phone, her voice sharp as glass. Yes, we need immediate police assistance. Suspected fraud, possible theft attempt. She glanced at Marcus, daring him to react. Marcus didn't. He simply adjusted his watch again, the metal catching the light like a quiet warning. And for the first time, the Horizon Grand no longer felt like a lobby. It felt like a courtroom. The phone in Lauren's hand buzzed faintly against the marble desk as she gave dispatch her version of the story. Fraudulent guest, aggressive, refusing to leave. Every word hung in the air like smoke, darkening the room. Marcus remained still, rooted to the marble floor as if carved into it. His face gave nothing away. Guests shifted uneasily, glancing at one another. A gray-haired woman whispered, "He hasn't even raised his voice." Another man muttered, "They're lying. I can feel it." Victoria leaned back on her heels, victorious in posture if not in truth. See? This is what happens when you try to game the system. Security. Remove him. Kevin stepped forward again, fingers twitching near Marcus's shoulder. The crowd held its breath. Marcus's voice cut through like steel. Don't. Just one word, calm but heavy, and Kevin froze mid-step. Elena Ruiz's hands trembled at her sides. She had seen injustice before, but never so open, never so deliberate. She thought of the booking screen that morning, Marcus's name in bold letters. King, penthouse, owner-level clearance. And now she watched as her manager tried to erase it with words. Sophie whispered into her live stream, her voice shaking. They're calling the cops. He hasn't done a thing. He gave them ID, a card, everything. Her view count surged past 300. Comments poured in. Typical. Unreal. Stay strong, brother. Marcus finally moved, not away, but forward. He lifted his phone, dialed with quiet precision, and pressed it to his ear. Nia, he said evenly, his assistant's name rolling steady through the receiver. Log this moment. Time stamp it. Begin audit documentation. Yes, sir, came the crisp reply. Victoria's smile faltered. She hadn't expected resistance this calm, this calculated. You can call whoever you like, she sneered. It won't change the fact that you don't belong here. Marcus lowered the phone, eyes locked on hers. His reply was steady, unblinking. Belonging isn't yours to decide. The words landed like a verdict of their own. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Phones lifted higher. And for the first time that evening, Victoria looked less like the one in charge and more like the one on trial. The Horizon Grand's lobby no longer buzzed with casual chatter. It vibrated with tension, as if the marble itself held its breath. Victoria leaned forward across the counter, her red dress catching the chandelier's glow. "You're wasting everyone's time," she said, voice sharp. "We don't tolerate deception. Walk out, or you'll be escorted out." Marcus didn't move. His watch gleamed as he adjusted the cuff of his white shirt, every motion deliberate. "I'll stand right here," he replied evenly. Kevin muttered, "Fraud," under his breath, just loud enough for guests nearby to hear. Lauren shot him a quick look, half approval, half warning. From the corner, Sophie's live stream surged past 500 viewers. Her voice shook but carried. "He's calm. They're provoking him, and he's calm." The comments scrolled faster. "Classic discrimination. I've lived this exact scene. Stay strong, brother." Elena Ruiz stepped out from behind the concierge desk. Her voice cracked at first but found its weight. "His reservation is valid. I saw it myself this morning. Penthouse suite. King." Gasps rippled through the lobby. Heads turned. Phones tilted higher. Victoria spun on her, eyes like blades. "Enough, Elena. You want to lose your job tonight?" But Elena didn't step back. "I won't lie for you," she said firmly, her voice louder now, carrying past the marble and glass. A man in a navy suit near the lounge called out, "She's right. He showed his ID, his card. What more do you want?" A young woman clutching a suitcase chimed in, "You can't erase him just because you don't like how he looks." The balance shifted. What had been whispers was now a chorus. Victoria slammed the card on the counter, her smile brittle. "This is my hotel, and I decide who stays." Marcus's gaze sharpened, cutting through her words. "No," he said slowly, his baritone steady. "This lobby doesn't belong to you. It belongs to me." The words didn't roar. They didn't need to. They fell into the lobby like a gavel strike. And for the first time, Victoria's perfect composure fractured. The lobby froze after Marcus's words. "This lobby belongs to me." They echoed off marble and glass, settling heavy into every corner. Guests leaned closer, eyes wide. Phones stayed raised, capturing every second. Victoria's smile twitched, then sharpened into defiance. She laughed, loud and hollow. "Owner? Don't make me laugh. Men like you don't own penthouses. Men like you don't own hotels. You pretend. That's all." The room gasped. Even Kevin blinked at her choice of words, the venom behind them impossible to ignore. Marcus' face didn't change. His stillness carried more weight than any outburst could. He had seen this script before, lived it too many times. Every insult was recycled, every dismissal rehearsed, and yet every time, it hit the same nerve. Lauren slammed the receiver down, her voice high with fake urgency. "Police are on the way. Fraudulent guest refusing to leave." Sophie's live stream was past 800 viewers now. The comments poured in like waves. "This is racist, period." "Unbelievable." She just said that out loud. "We're watching history." Elena's chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. She stepped closer to Marcus, her voice firmer than before. "You can't talk to him like that. His reservation is valid. I saw it myself." Victoria turned on her, fury flashing in her blue eyes. "Stay out of this, Elena, or you'll be unemployed by morning." But Elena didn't flinch. She stood shoulder to shoulder with Marcus now. "Then fire me, but I won't let you erase him." "How?" A gray-haired woman near the lounge lifted her phone higher, voice trembling but clear. "The whole world is watching you." Kevin crossed his arms, feigning confidence but shifting on his feet. The certainty he carried minutes ago was slipping. Marcus finally spoke again, voice even, cold, controlled. "You just made the worst mistake of your career." Victoria's laugh cracked. "The worst mistake is yours," she snapped. "Walking in here thinking you belong." "Oh." The line hung in the air like a slap. Guests shook their heads. Phones caught every syllable. And in that instant, the Horizon Grand wasn't just a hotel anymore. It was a stage, a trial, a reckoning. Kevin's hand shot out before anyone could react. He snatched Marcus's titanium card off the counter, holding it high like a trophy. "Not yours anymore," he declared. "Until the bank verifies it, this belongs to the hotel." The crowd gasped. Sophie's voice rang over her live stream, disbelief dripping from every word. "They just stole his card." They actually stole it. Her viewer count broke 1,000. Victoria folded her arms, satisfaction gleaming in her eyes. "Consider yourself done here," she said. "No room, no access, no place in this hotel." Lauren smirked as Kevin strutted to the small safe behind the desk. With exaggerated precision, he opened the drawer, slid Marcus's card inside, and slammed the door shut. The metallic click echoed through the lobby like a lock on a cell door. "That's theft," a man near the coffee bar shouted. His wife shook her head in outrage. "How can they do this?" Elena stepped forward, fists clenched at her sides. "You can't confiscate a guest's property. That's not policy. It's—" "Silence," Victoria snapped, cutting her down. "He's not a guest. He's a fraud. And if you defend him, you'll be treated the same." Elena's lips pressed tight, but she didn't move away. She stayed near Marcus, a silent line of resistance. Marcus adjusted the cuff of his white shirt, his silver watch catching the chandelier's glow once again. His voice came low, steady, and colder than ice. "Return my card, now." Kevin laughed. "Or what, you'll sue, you'll cry? Men like you don't win in places like this." The room bristled. Guests shifted in their seats, outrage brewing. Sophie's voice cracked with fury. "They're humiliating him in front of everyone." Victoria's smile sharpened. "Escort him out," she ordered. Kevin stepped forward, hand reaching for Marcus's arm. Marcus didn't step back. He didn't flinch. His eyes locked on Kevin's with a weight that stopped him mid-motion. "You touch me," Marcus said, every syllable slow and deliberate, "and you'll never work in this industry again." The words dropped like stone, and for the first time that night, Kevin hesitated. The safe clicked shut, sealing Marcus's card inside. The sound reverberated through the lobby like a gavel, final and arrogant. Victoria stood taller, her crimson dress blazing under the chandelier, as if the entire performance was her triumph. "Now," she said, voice dripping with victory, "walk yourself out before we have security drag you." The crowd shifted uneasily. Murmurs spread. Guests looked at one another, confused, unsettled. Phones hovered in the air like witnesses sworn to testify. Marcus didn't move. He adjusted his cuff again, the silver of his watch catching light with deliberate ease. He let the silence build until it pressed heavy against every person in the room. Then he pulled his phone from his pocket. The room hushed further. He lifted the phone to his ear, his voice smooth, steady, and unshaken. "Nia, it's happening." On the other end, his assistant's reply was immediate, crisp, efficient. "Understood. Do you want me to initiate the system?" "Yes," Marcus said, gaze never leaving Victoria's face. "Log this moment. Timestamp the footage. Prepare escalation protocol." The crowd reacted before Victoria did. A young woman near the coffee bar gasped softly, her whisper carrying, "Escalation protocol?" Victoria's lips tightened, her smile flickered just for a second. "Call whoever you want," she sneered, louder now, as if to drown out her own unease. "No one's coming to save you. This is my hotel." But Marcus only lowered the phone slightly, his voice calm, absolute. "No, it isn't." Sophie caught it perfectly on her live stream. Comments exploded across her feed. "Wait, does he own it? Protocol? This is big." "Oh, she's in trouble," Kevin barked, trying to reclaim authority. "This is nonsense. End the call, sir, or I'll remove you myself." But his words rang hollow. His hand twitched, hesitant. For the first time, the certainty in his posture cracked. Marcus's silence answered louder than words. He slipped the phone back into his pocket, gaze unbroken, presence immovable. Then, with perfect calm, he spoke each word landing like iron. "You've locked away what belongs to me. You've called me a fraud in front of witnesses. You've humiliated me in my own lobby. And you think there won't be consequences?" The lobby went still. Even the chandeliers seemed to wait. Victoria forced a laugh, brittle and sharp. "Consequences?" she mocked. "The only consequence is you walking out of here in handcuffs." But even as she spoke, Elena Ruiz's voice broke through, trembling but clear. "No, the consequence is coming for you." Every phone lifted higher. Every eye turned sharper. And in that moment, it wasn't Marcus who looked like he was on trial anymore. It was... The tension in the Horizon Grand's lobby was suffocating. Victoria stood rigid behind the desk, red dress gleaming, her lips curled in that same cruel smile. Kevin loomed just feet from Marcus, fists half clenched, his swagger shaken but not yet gone. Lauren kept her hand near the phone, as if repeating, "Police are coming," could undo what was unfolding. Marcus, centered in it all, stood still. White shirt crisp, watch gleaming. His silence filled the marble room until even the guests forgot to whisper. Finally, he spoke. "You think I don't belong here," he said, voice steady as stone. "You've called me a fraud, a trespasser, a thief. And all of it," he paused, scanning the crowd, letting the weight of his gaze fall on every raised phone. "All of it in front of witnesses." Victoria laughed, too loudly, the sound sharp and brittle. "Witnesses? Please. A few tourists with cell phones don't change the fact that you don't own a thing here." That was when Marcus stepped closer to the desk, his presence towering though he never raised his voice. His hand rested lightly on the counter, his silver watch catching the chandelier's light. "This lobby," he said slowly, deliberately, "doesn't belong to you, Victoria. It belongs to me." The words landed like a bomb. Gasps rippled across the room. Phones tilted higher. Sophie's livestream comments exploded. "He owns it. This is his hotel? No way." Elena Ruiz's lips parted in quiet relief. She had suspected, but hearing it confirmed was like air rushing back into her lungs. Victoria's laugh cracked mid-note. "Owner?" she scoffed, eyes darting to Lauren and Kevin as if for backup. "That's impossible, you—" She gestured at him, her voice trembling now. "You don't look like someone who owns the Horizon Grand." And there it was, the unmasked prejudice, spoken aloud. The gray-haired woman near the lounge whispered fiercely to no one in particular. "I can't believe she said that." Another guest muttered. "We all just heard it. She said it out loud." "Ho." Marcus didn't flinch. "No," he replied, calm and cutting. "I don't look like the picture in your head, but I am Marcus King, founder, owner, Horizon Group." The silence that followed wasn't silence at all. It was a collapse. Every ounce of false authority Victoria had clung to shattered in an instant. Kevin's arms dropped to his sides. His smirk evaporated. Lauren's hand slid from the phone as if it had burned her. Sophie's voice cracked on her live stream. "Oh my God, he owns it. He actually owns it." The lobby erupted not in chaos, but in a wave of realization. Guests murmured. Some applauded. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Every camera in the room focused squarely on Marcus, no longer a stranger, but the man who held the keys to every inch of this building. Victoria's face drained of color. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. For the first time that night, she looked small behind the marble counter she had once ruled. Marcus leaned closer, voice low but powerful enough to carry through the lobby. "You thought this was your stage, but you were only ever playing in my house." Phones caught it. Guests gasped. And Victoria Vance, once the queen of this lobby, now looked like nothing more than a trespasser in it. The name Marcus King echoed across the Horizon Grand's lobby like a verdict. Phones stayed raised, capturing every twitch of the staff's faces. Lauren froze, her smirk gone, her voice stuck in her throat. Kevin's hands fell to his sides, his bravado draining as quickly as the color from his face. Even the way he stood betrayed him no longer security, just another man caught in the wrong fight. But it was Victoria who crumbled most. Her perfect red lips parted, her eyes darting from Marcus to the crowd, desperate for support that no longer existed. You can't be," she stammered. "If you owned this place, I should have." She stopped herself, realizing every word only buried her deeper. A man in a navy suit spoke first, his voice sharp. "I heard him. He said founder, owner, and I believe him more than I'll ever believe you." Applause broke out, not loud at first, just a smattering, but enough to shift the atmosphere. Guests clapped, nodded, murmured their agreement. Phones captured it all. Sophie's livestream comments poured in. "She's done. This is justice. Fire her live." Elena Ruiz stepped forward, her chin lifted. "I've worked here 3 years. His name has always been in the system. Executive-level override. Owner clearance. I saw it this morning myself." The lobby gasped again, this time with clarity. The truth wasn't just Marcus's word now, it was confirmed by the very staff Victoria had tried to silence. Victoria's breath came sharp, shallow. "You don't understand. I was protecting the hotel." "No," Marcus interrupted, his voice calm but absolute. "You were protecting your prejudice, and now you'll face the consequences." The chandelier's glow caught his watch again as he tapped his phone, each motion deliberate, as if he had rehearsed this reckoning. The power had shifted entirely. The staff who once stood tall behind the marble desk now looked cornered, small, and transparent. The crowd knew it. Marcus knew it. And most of all, Victoria knew it. Her reign over the lobby had ended. The lobby stood silent, every eye fixed on Marcus. The weight of his words lingered in the air, and for the first time, Victoria Vance looked like she wanted to disappear behind the marble desk she once ruled. Marcus lifted his phone again, his baritone calm and deliberate. "Nia," he said. "Yes, Mr. King," came the crisp reply from the other end. "Execute immediate terminations," Marcus continued, never breaking eye contact with Victoria. "Victoria Vance, Lauren Hayes, Kevin Patel, effective now. Lock their access. Remove their credentials from the Horizon system." Gasps rippled across the lobby. Guests leaned forward, phones shaking in their hands as they captured every syllable. On the other end, Nia's voice was steady. "Confirmed. Processing now." A chime echoed from behind the desk. Victoria glanced down at her access badge. It flashed red, the word "denied" glowing across the screen. Her breath caught. She swiped again, harder this time. The same red denial flashed back. Lauren tried hers next. Red. Kevin followed, hands trembling as the same rejection lit up. The desk they once commanded had locked them out, rendering them powerless in the span of seconds. The crowd erupted, some applauded, others gasped in disbelief. Sophie's live-stream comments poured in like a flood. "Instant justice. He fired them live. No way this is real." Victoria's voice cracked, no longer polished, no longer commanding. You can't do this." Marcus's gaze was steady, his tone final. "I just did." Elena Ruiz stepped closer, her voice firm, no longer trembling. "It's over," she said, addressing the room as much as the disgraced staff. Kevin slumped against the counter, eyes wide, his earlier bravado drained away. Lauren's lips trembled as she fumbled for excuses that wouldn't come. Victoria's crimson smile collapsed entirely, leaving her exposed and fragile in front of the crowd she once commanded. Marcus turned to the guests, his presence filling the space. "This hotel does not tolerate discrimination," he declared, "and it never will under my leadership." The applause that followed was no longer scattered, it was thunderous. The applause thundered through the Horizon Grand's lobby, bouncing off marble floors and glass walls, louder than any insult hurled that night. What had started as a humiliation was ending as vindication. Live, in front of every guest and every phone pointed toward Marcus King. Victoria Vance's world collapsed in silence. She stood rigid behind the counter, her perfect red smile erased, her badge flashing "denied" over and over again. Each failed swipe was another nail in the coffin of her authority. Lauren's hands shook as she lowered the useless phone, while Kevin's arms hung slack at his sides, his earlier bravado nowhere to be found. They had been stripped bare not just of access, but of power, credibility, and dignity. The crowd saw it, and they would never forget it. Marcus didn't revel in their collapse. He didn't smirk, didn't boast. He stood tall, white shirt crisp, watch glinting beneath the chandelier, calm, commanding. The applause rolled around him, not because he demanded it, but because his presence drew it naturally, as if justice itself had entered the room and taken shape in a man. He let the applause continue until it swelled to its peak. Then, slowly, he raised a hand. The room quieted instantly. Even the chandeliers seemed to still. Marcus's voice carried, low but certain, across every inch of the lobby. "You tried to erase me tonight. You called me a fraud, a thief. You locked away what was mine, and you thought silence meant weakness." He paused, scanning the faces before him. Guests leaning forward, phones steady in the air. Elena standing tall at his side, no longer trembling. "You mistook restraint for submission," Marcus continued. "But silence," he glanced at his watch, the silver catching light like a blade. "Silence was my weapon, and you just proved why." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The words cut deeper than any outburst could have. Sophie's live stream chat erupted. Bars. "Mic drop. This man is power." Marcus turned his gaze back to the disgraced trio. "You've been judged, not by me, but by your own actions. Every guest here saw it. Every camera recorded it. You didn't just fail at your jobs, you failed at humanity." Victoria's voice broke, brittle and hollow. You can't do this." Marcus didn't blink. His tone was final. "I already did." Gasps. Applause. Phones surged higher, desperate to catch his every word. Then he turned, his baritone resonant, now addressing not just the staff, but everyone in the room and everyone watching beyond it. "I don't need to post a video," he said. "I don't need to prove what just happened, because I am the proof. I am the result of what happens when dignity wins." Silence, and then the room erupted. The applause this time wasn't scattered, it was unified, thunderous, filling the marble lobby with the sound of vindication. Some guests cheered, others wiped at their eyes. A man in a navy suit shouted, "That's leadership." A woman clutching a suitcase whispered, "I'll never forget this moment." Victoria, Lauren, and Kevin shrank back against the counter, powerless, irrelevant, while Elena Ruiz stood straighter than ever, her courage rewarded in the presence of true leadership. Marcus didn't wait for the applause to die down. He adjusted his cuff, the gleam of his watch sharp under the light, and turned toward the elevators. Guests parted instinctively, forming an aisle for him to walk through. Some clapped on his shoulder as he passed. Others simply nodded in reverence. He didn't look back. He didn't need to, because the Horizon Grand no longer belonged to Victoria's false authority, or Kevin's swagger, or Lauren's sneer. It belonged once again to its true owner. And as Marcus King stepped into the elevator, his final words still echoing in the marble chamber, one truth settled over everyone present. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes, justice wears a white shirt, a silver watch, and walks away without looking back.